and shooting some hoops, right?
Yeah, hopefully these guys are doing well and we don't get hit by a... That was almost 3 points. That's pretty good.
But this is so fun. It's been amazing. Today I've been riding ponies. I've been having races with Chevron on the ponies.
Great question. I think bringing innovators and disruptors together to solve some of the planet's biggest, most complex problems is really important.
Good ideas can come from the youth and the children, you know, as we've seen with like the Greta movement.
I'm sorry, corporate bullshit bottom here. But all of them have been actually very boring. Welcome to The Switch, not another podcast, with a special edition this time from Energy Disruptors. We are at Calgary and we are interviewing all the people about what we should do for the future. So join us as we go finding new people to interview about the future of our world. Here we go. Stop. I owe you an explanation. This episode of The Switch, not another podcast, here to entertain and educate you, a special recorded in Canada, Calgary, where we had the pleasure to attend the conference Energy Disruptors. An amazing, absolutely the absolute best energy conference that I've ever been to. Maybe it was because there were electric ponies that you can ride around on, or maybe there was slides and also I was shooting hoops, or maybe it was because all of this made it so that we had excellent, really good conversations about how we can really move forward the conversation about how to solve the planet and bring it back to balance. I had the pleasure of interviewing the founders, Graeme and Michelle Edge, and also a bunch of the absolutely most top speakers on subjects such as batteries, aviation, or ESG. Well, here you guys, follow closely as we go into a very special episode with bits and pieces of how you can make sure to do the switch together with us. If you like it, make sure you share it to someone you like, subscribe to it, and follow us, be a part of making the switch. I look forward getting your feedback. Listen closely, stay tuned. Here we go. And welcome, Fabrizio. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Fabrizio Chiacchia, or Fab for short. I work for Pembina Pipelines. I'm the Vice President of New Ventures.
Why are you here at Energy Disruptors?
Well, it's an incredible conference that allows you to have open, honest conversations around what's happening in the energy sector. And it gives you an opportunity to meet with people that you traditionally wouldn't meet with. And so it's been very, very interesting and great conversation and really a good way to think differently and have really great conversation.
So if you've been thinking differently, have you been trying out the horses?
I've been asked to try the horses a couple times, but I haven't yet.
We'll see. I have to try them out as well, so it's okay. Listen, I wanted to ask you, why do you think we need to have conferences like this?
Well, when we think about the energy system today and where we want to get to, we need to have these types of conferences that really push our thinking and push us to get to net zero by 2050 or whatever the target is. And so these types of conferences give us that opportunity to have those conversations that are really important to get to 2050.
On the topic of conversations, I have a conversation for you that I would like to pick up on. We have a question from Freya. She's 7 years old. Let's check it out. Okay?
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
I think Freya should focus a lot on making decisions that will impact her next generation, just like how we have to start making decisions that impact her generation. And so she needs to think further ahead, just like how we're starting to think further ahead as well.
I think that was a brilliant answer. What kind of legacy are you hoping to leave?
That is a good question. I think this is a time for change. And I hope that we can take all the history and all the lessons that we've learned from the past and really start building a foundation now, between now and 2030, in order to set that change and set that forward path to 2050 and beyond.
I look forward to following you on that journey. Biggest fan. So thank you very much for attending the Switch today.
Thank you as well. Nice meeting you.
I am now sitting here with the founders of Energy Disruptors, and the reason why we're in Calgary and enjoying this amazing event. How are you guys feeling? It's day 2 of this amazing event.
Well, I think we're both relieved, tired, excited.
We're day 2.
Yeah, we're 2 days in. We've got 120 speakers across the 3 days, but probably today it feels like we've kind of broken the back of the event, if that makes sense. Day 1, we were definitely nervous going in, but we really loved the programming today. We've had great feedback, so it feels good to be through day 1 and day 2 now.
I mean, it is really a different kind of event. So I've been around going to different kind of conferences, energy conferences, and honestly, all of them, I'm sorry, corporate bullshit bottom here. But all of them have been actually very boring. But this is so fun. It's been amazing. Today I've been riding ponies. I've been having races with Chevron on the ponies. We've been shooting hoops. And we've had amazing conversations with people that are like out of the blue. It's so amazing to be here. How did you accomplish to do this, to put an event together that has all of this creativity in it, but still keeps the strong business sense and like the urge of really inventing and making a difference in the world? How did it come about?
Well, I've been to a lot of energy events myself. I used to be in the oil and gas industry. And the whole idea behind the event is it's called Unite for a reason. We want to make 1 million impactful connections between our delegates. Our stage content is heavy, it's deep, and it's very long. We've got a super long program. It's 3 full days of program. We want to create an environment where people can move to the hive. That's what we call our socialization area, and they can feel relaxed. And in order to feel relaxed, we have to break barriers down. We have to break the ice between people. If you create an environment where people are buzzing around on suits, on rideable stuffies, it becomes a talking point, and instantly you feel the connection starting to be made because everybody's experiencing the same spectacle. So then suddenly you're all on the same even page. And when you create activations where there's natural organic interactions, then people start to engage with each other as human beings and not with somebody who's from a different organization or a different industry. You connect with each other on a different level. So I know there are lots of creative events where there are activations created to be unusual and unique and for Instagram moments. For us, it was about creating environments where people can make organic, real connections.
If you go back to where you guys started, the purpose and what you really wanted to accomplish with this event, how did it come about? How did you start the idea?
Well, it started in late 2016. So I was probably at my lowest point in my career, deeply unhappy with what I was doing work-wise. I just started a new company, and I thought I've made a horrible mistake. I don't want to build this new business. I'd bought a business that I was running out of basically receivership from someone else. And Michelle had noticed an event happening in the UK, and I was probably searching for inspiration personally. Michelle's like, you should go to this event in the UK with Richard Branson. Looks amazing, the content. There's going to be all these entrepreneurs. You need something to light a fire under you. And at the time I was thinking, well, there's no way I'm going to go to London and spend a bunch of money to go to like an event that, it's not about energy, or it wasn't about what I was doing at that time. And she said, I've just got a feeling that you're meant to go. So she actually booked me a flight and bought me a ticket. So I ended up going to that event. And at that event, I saw Holly Ransom, who's now our co-founder of Energy Disruptors, and she was presenting. And I'd never in my life heard of Holly. And I sat next to Roger Atkins, who's the cowboy hat wearing guy that you've been seeing the last 2 days. He was just here a second ago. And I'm chatting away to Roger, and I spent the day watching Holly on stage, and you've both got a chance to see her over the last couple of days. And she's so talented at what she does and drawing out incredible conversations and interactions from people. So it was probably the combination of meeting Roger, seeing Holly, sparked this idea of what if we created an event that had this kind of format and inspiration, but we did it around energy and energy transition, and we did it in Calgary, almost like the last place on earth you would think to do something like this. So that was the initial inspiration. I got off that flight, and I remember writing on a piece of paper, Energy Disruptors, ? And Michelle and I looked up the domain, energydisruptors.com, literally that night. And it was available, I think, for like $16. And we bought it on the spot. The next morning, I typed out a message to Holly on LinkedIn. And I basically said, there's a random dude in Calgary. I saw you present this event in London. We actually didn't meet there in person. I've got this idea to start this Future of Energy event, and I'd love you to host it. But I want to be straight up. We don't have any events experience. We don't have any money to fund it. But will you basically host our imaginary energy event? And that was kind of the start of how it all got going.
I'm just curious, like, did you ever ask her, like, this random dude, as you said, sending her a message, what did she answer? What was her, like, first reaction?
You know, it's funny. So I still have that LinkedIn message. And it was almost to the day 6 years ago. And I can't exactly remember Holly's reply. I can dig it out. But it was, let's do it. It was like, it made me laugh. Yeah. Screw it. Like, let's have a Zoom call and have a chat about this. And we got on a Zoom call, and I remember being really nervous.
No, you weren't nervous until we looked her up on the internet. I don't know if you've Googled Holly Ransom, but 500 pages come up, and she is literally the most impressive person. And at the time, she was 26 years old, complete unicorn. So Graeme read all this stuff and then had to jump on a call with her.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't Google her before I had messaged her, because I just kind of leapt in and went, okay, screw it, I'll send her a message. And then I started researching her, and then I started worrying, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm going to make an absolute fool of myself when I got on the Zoom call with her. But it was, what was so incredible about Holly was I just felt the minute we got on the call, she was just so generous and warm. And put me at ease, and I think I remember saying, like, I'm really nervous, and I was like, this is a half-baked idea, and it's probably a stupid idea, but I want to do this thing, and here's the name of it, and here's kind of the very rough concept. And Holly said, if you can get this off the ground, I'm in. I'll host it. I want to do it. And that was the beginning. So that's kind of, and so 6 years later, here we are with 2,500 delegates. It's a big event, and there's a lot of steps along the way, obviously, to get to this point. But it was that first, Holly's generosity of spirit, which really started this whole thing.
But I think that also says a lot about you, because I think that I can recognize that generosity all when you are here at the event. And what I wanted to ask you about is, I think that you're setting a precedent of how we should actually innovate together in the future, because bringing about these people and giving so much as this event is actually doing, you're really good at putting people together, introducing people, and just like making people comfortable to talk about business. Like, what do you know? Do you know anything? Do you know any big accomplishments that come out of this event? Do you know any good, cool collaborations that you can tell about?
We've had some really, we've had people stop us in the street, burst into tears, and say that attending one of the summits has changed the course of their life. I had one today, which was really cool. I had a guy pull me to the side. I'm walking through the summit floor, and he's like, hey, Graeme, we've never met before. Have you got 5 minutes? And I said, yeah, of course. Let's have a quick chat. He said, I just want to say I was at your first event 2018. We went to second one in 2019. The 2018 one inspired me to start my own company. I actually left my corporate career and coming out of that event. And I'm sure it wasn't the only factor that caused that, but he's like, it was kind of the final thing that pushed me over the edge. And then I showed up in 2019, and I'm kind of expecting to say, and 2019 was terrible or something. My brain's immediately going to, oh God, what did we do? And he said, what I realized in 2019 was that all these incredible people that you're bringing together as a team every year, what's remarkable was that actually they're all ordinary people. And the realization I had coming out of 2019 was, why not me? Why not me doing something like this? And that was, so these are the moments that is a huge part of why we do this.
One thing that when I listen to you, it just comes to my mind. Either you're very crazy or you're super brave. Because the ideas that you're putting together, the people that you're putting together, you mentioned the panel with Malcolm and Sir Ken. I mean, all of these and Ming, all of these things, they have to come from somewhere. And you're actually challenging status quo quite often.
That's Michelle.
That's Michelle. How do you, because I think it is, and how can we, I wish that this episode can inspire more people to dare to do this. What would be your advice for people not to be scared and think, no, I shouldn't, or no, let's go back into regular, or let's do like everybody else does. How do you become more brave, and how do you dare to do these kind of things?
That's a really interesting question. It's something that Graeme and I talk about frequently. You have your moments when things are going well and you're ecstatic and you think fate's led us on a journey and we were meant to do this. And you have times when things are really, really bad. And to be clear, when you're an entrepreneur and there are no safety nets, things can be really bad, exceptionally bad. And if you have a family to look after, it can feel like the world is ending for you. And you kind of sit there and you think, why are we doing these things to ourselves? Why don't we just go down the conventional path? There must be a reason why 99.9% of the population do the same thing and they act traditionally. But for me, I don't want to speak for both of us. I felt like I had a calling. I can't deeply explain it. I still haven't processed why we felt that we had to do, and that's what it feels like. It feels like we have to do this. I don't know why. It was such a strong urge that I never really second guessed what we were doing, even when times were really, really tough. And I think this topic was covered multiple times today in the content, that when the goal, when the mission, when the passion outweighs your fear, that's when you can do exceptional things. And people ask us all the time the same question, like, are you crazy? Like, why are you so brave? I don't feel brave. I feel, definitely feel the fear, and we work through it. And I suppose that it literally is courage. It would be considered courage, but to me, it doesn't feel like courage. It just feels like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we're here for.
Thank you. I'm going to let you go. Have a awesome end of the great conference and enjoy what you have created, because as I said, you are changing the world. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to The Switch. Who am I talking to?
Lance Mortlock, and I'm with EY.
Welcome to the pod. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I'm very happy to have you. Tell me, what have you been doing here at Energy Disruptors?
Well, I've been listening to some great speakers, and I moderated a panel this morning on carbon sequestration.
Oh, that sounds very difficult. Tell me, give us a couple of summaries here.
Well, apart from being a mouthful, it is about putting carbon dioxide under the ground and storing it so that it doesn't go up into the atmosphere and cause impacts in terms of climate change.
Cool. So I know that question is going to be coming up. What happens when you put it in the ground?
It stays there. And then maybe we use it again in the future, but it doesn't have the impact on the environment like emitting it into the atmosphere. So it's different, and it's better for the environment.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how far along are we with this? Is it a ready solution to use?
I would give us a 5. The technology's proven. We have some great example projects in Canada. We need now to scale it at another level.
And you are going to be a part of that?
I think so, yeah. Our firm is trying to help our clients innovate and make the world a better place.
And you're doing a good job with that. Some other people who are really trying to make the world a better place are the energy disruptors that are here and doing this conference. What is your perspective? Why do we need a conference like this?
Great question. I think bringing innovators and disruptors together to solve some of the planet's biggest, most complex problems is really important. And what I love about this conference is it's not really a conference. It's more about an experience and reshaping thinking, reshaping assumptions, and changing mindsets.
I have a question from the future. Actually, Freya, 7 years old, is asking everybody the same question. Are you ready to answer that one? Let's take a look at it.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
There's a couple of things I would say. One is think about your personal commitment to your carbon footprint. I think our generation thought about that less, and I know that the younger generations coming up will play more of a personal contribution. And then I think the second thing is be inspired to solve some of the planet's biggest, most complex problems. Those problems are exciting to solve, so let's grab it with both hands and make it happen.
I think that's a good advice. Make it happen. I guess that's not what we did, our generation, and hopefully what they will do.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
We just listened to Adam Grant here recently, and he said that they have proved now that they believe that Generation Y and Z, they're going to be the one who actually do it. Do you have hopes for the coming future?
I do. I'm an optimist, and I think with the generations that are coming up, they have a different approach, different mindset. They're more open, and I think we're going to make things happen.
I do too. Back with another exciting person here. Megan, please help me introduce you to the world.
Hi, Christina, and hello, all my friends in Sweden and beyond. My name is Megan. I work for Calgary Economic Development in the city of Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
That's where we are.
And voted the most livable city in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow, I didn't know that actually.
It's a great place to make a living and a great place to make a life.
So if you want to move away from Sweden, please come to Calgary.
You got it.
And I know that we can go ski here. You showed me some picture about really nice hiking.
Yep, Rocky Mountain Playground, lots of activities year-round. Take you skiing, hiking, snowshoeing, rock climbing, whatever your heart desires.
Interesting. I wonder why you are good at selling Calgary. Tell me about who you are representing.
Yes, so I work for the city's economic development agency. Our job is to support the attraction, retention, and expansion of companies, people, and capital.
Cool. And how come you are here at Energy Disruptors?
Calgary arguably is one of the global energy cities. We're really good at oil and gas. That's our legacy. We're also a city that has, and a community and a province that has tremendous renewable energy assets as well. We're also focused on things like lithium and mineral mining. So we have the people, we have the assets, we have the legacy in energy. So, focusing on our leadership position in the world and how we can collaborate on energy transition solutions is a paramount focus for this community all across Alberta, and we really are excited to collaborate with people at Energy Disruptors and listen to people from around the world like yourself, Christina, that are coming here and talk about how we can really bring bright minds together to solve these global problems here in Calgary.
And, I can agree with you more. I'm so, this setting is something that I haven't seen before. The way we are collaborating already in this conference, we are shooting hoops, we are riding ponies, we are playing the pianos and listening and getting inspired. Why do you think we need this kind of an event in order to boost our creativity?
Yeah, I think it's easy to leave people out of the conversation with traditional methods of collaboration and engagement, right? So this kind of an environment and space encourages collisions. It encourages young people that maybe don't have experience in the industry, but they're excited about their contributions and the value they can have to get involved. I feel like it really invites in people from like different corners of the ecosystem that wouldn't maybe show up at a technical or kind of more traditional event and feel like they had a place there. So I think that's what makes Energy Disruptors really cool. It also brings in that international perspective. So, yes, we have a lot of really smart people here and they're trying to solve really big energy solutions, but we don't have all the ideas. So we do need to listen and we do need to work with people in all corners of the world, because that's where the solutions are going to come from, is when all those ideas come together.
Yes, I agree with you. Listen, on that topic, for the future, in a sense, I actually have a question to you from the future. Freya, 7 years old. She has a question for you. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
Let's check her out.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
I think two things. The first thing that comes to mind, Christina, is listen. I think a lot of people are really keen to talk and to, just listen to somebody because they're ready to say the next thing that they have to say, as opposed to really listen for that intention and reflection on how they can build on what they've heard. So I think listening and broadening that topic of listening, it's also listening to all people, right? There's good ideas can come from the youth and the children. As we've seen with like the Greta movement, they can come from other industries that maybe don't work within energy or necessarily are focused on energy transition solutions, but there's something that they could bring in from the agriculture or life sciences sector. So I think we want to be really open-minded and listening to all the different, voices that can come to the table. And I also think we need to make decisions. In Canada, we talk about Indigenous reconciliation. And when you're making decisions today, you're thinking about the next 7 generations of people. And so I think we want to be cognizant of that, as if the decision I'm making today, what is the implication for the next 70 years and 7 generations of people is really important. So those are things that come top of mind in terms of advice, I guess, for things that we probably haven't done well, but that I think subsequent generations can be thinking about differently.
I love that, because we're often talking about what the next generation should do, but actually we need to have a perspective that is even longer than that. So yes. Thank you for that inspiring remark, and continue to enjoy the conference. I found a very special person here today. Please tell me more about you.
Hi, Hamutal Ben Bassat, VP of Business Development with Nano One. We change how the world makes battery materials.
Battery materials?
Yeah, we've developed a new process for making active cathode materials that uses metal as a feedstock, does not have a sodium sulfate waste stream, and is more sustainable and more scalable.
Wow, that's cool. Why are you here at Energy Disruptors?
I think it's a great opportunity to meet people from the industry and outside of the industry looking to be a part of the energy transition. The oil and gas is all about energy. And it's about finding different ways to getting the energy that we need to make our planet works.
I agree. It's a kind of a special conference. I haven't been on a fun conference like this before. Why do you think we need an environment and a place like this?
I think it's the funnest conference I've ever attended, simply because it gives space for people to meet and exchange ideas. So it's not just about having speakers on the stage, people running through their slides of decks, their deck of slides, and just going through them one by one. But there's actually an opportunity to interact, to discuss, to meet. There are a lot of seating areas. There's a lot of opportunity to have a bigger discussion.
And you're actually speaking today.
I was participating at a panel earlier this morning about how to globalize Canadian innovation in the sector.
And I heard you did great.
I had fun.
Yeah. Listen, to do great, we need the future generations with us. I have a question from Freya, 7 years old. Are you ready?
Please.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
I think I would really like you to get rid of externalities.
Can you explain externalities for people who don't understand that?
Externalities are when you don't take into consideration the full impact or the full cost of what it is that you're doing. So, for instance, if you take disposable dishes, they cost a few cents a piece because nobody has factored into the cost of getting rid of them. and getting them to the landfill, how long they're going to have to stay in the landfill, etc. And we have this sort of externalities not paying attention or not taking into account the full cost and the full consequences of what we do. And therefore, we cause damage.
So if Freya's generation would do this, what would be the difference, do you think?
I think it would eliminate a lot of practices that are considered sustainable today, either from an economic perspective or social perspective. But if you really trace down the full impact and the full cost, it's no longer sustainable, and you simply either don't do it or you do it by factoring in the full cost and charging for it.
How could it impact the economy and the finance?
For instance, let's take into consideration horrible accidents that have happened with tailing ponds. The reason they happened is that the full cost of the risk of these tailing ponds collapsing wasn't taken into account. So people were giving permit to have a tailing pond without enough infrastructure to make sure that it doesn't fail. If we change that, if we do calculate and figure out the full cost and the full impact from the get-go, as part of the permitting process, as part of the economic calculation about whether or not this activity is sustainable, that sort of accidents could be eliminated or at least reduced.
Good point. Thank you very much. What are your summarizing thoughts after attending this conference and moving forward? What do you bring with you?
I think it gives a lot of optimism and a lot of energy to continue doing what we're doing.
And I think it's important that you do that. So thank you very much. And for you who's listening, make sure to subscribe, watch and share so more of us can be a part of doing the switch. Hello and welcome to the switch. Who am I speaking to?
I'm Theo, Yameogo. I work for EY in Canada and also for the Americas. I lead mining and metals.
Tell me, what are you doing here at Energy Disruptors?
Well, I came here not only because we are the sponsors of the event, but also because I like to be challenged. I like to hear new ideas about how we're going to build a better future for the planet.
Cool. And I know that you are speaking today. What are you speaking about?
So it's interesting to notice that energy transition cannot be done without metals. People don't realize that yet. So we have a panel on the future of energy transition for Canada to become a battery superpower. So how do we generate minerals that can actually support the manufacturing of batteries in a sustainable way, low cost, but also energy efficient?
I love that. I'm going to be sitting down there and taking notes.
Okay.
But listen, you're here because we have a question from the future.
Yes.
Freya, 7-year-old, has sent you a question. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Let's check it out together, okay?
Okay.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
Well, I think the first piece is to understand where things come from so that you get less surprise once bad things happen. So, for example, it's important to understand which metals are important and why do we have metals and why do we use it in the on the planet. This generation right now and some of your generation actually do not understand that yet enough to understand the impacts. The second one is really rethinking simple stuff. My 8-year-old will say that, why do we have garbage? Why do we need to generate so much garbage? As the planet increases in population, we're going to have more garbage. So how do we make sure we reduce the creation itself of garbage? And last but not least is, it's more of an interesting one, is self-driving cars should actually make us more efficient and we will have less accidents and will save more human life. And the 7-year-old will actually not need to be 16 to have a driver's license. They'll have a self-driving car to go back and forth to school. And while it's driving, they'll be able to do their homework or play Dora on the computers.
And save more waste.
Exactly.
Good. Thank you very much and good luck on today's presentation.
Thank you very much. And I'm really happy you have talked to me today.
We're going to talk more, so don't you worry.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm standing here together with...
It's Craig Dunn. I'm president of WellDunn Consulting and executive director with Terrador Energy.
Welcome to the Switch. You were here attending Energy Disruptors, and tell us, why are you here? Why is it important?
I've been part of the energy transition. I think the joke is longer than it was cool. So I've been working in the geothermal energy space for almost 15 years now, but have a background working in oil and gas and mineral exploration as well. So this is just a perfect fit for, I joke, my people, folks that are trying to be part of that energy transition.
Do you think it's important to have conferences like this?
This conference is more than just your standard conference. It's really challenging some of the ideas and conventional thinking, and I think that's one of the most important parts about this event, and probably one of the most fun is you get to meet some folks that are willing to disrupt.
On that note, we have a question from the future. Freya, 7 years old, is asking you a question. Check it out.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
Learn. Meet as many people as you can, get educated, keep an open mind, and be one of our energy leaders in the future.
Oh, I think that Freya would love that. Thank you very much. We are at the basketball arena, and I'm talking to Patrick. Can you tell me a little bit more about you?
Well, I'm Patrick Elliott, and I'm a geologist by background. I've been working in upstream energy for 30 years, and have just recently started a carbon sequestration business, helping large industrial emitters decarbonize their industrial base.
Cool. And you are here at Energy Disruptors because?
It's a conference that brings together a bunch of different thinkers on energy transition and a bunch of different strategies on energy transition. It's not just about decarbonization through batteries or CCS or any given type of technology. It's all of the above. And it's just a great format to meet a bunch of different people thinking differently and talking about solutions to the challenge that we have ahead of us.
What are you hoping to achieve for your company here today?
Profile always helps. We're an entrepreneurial company. We've just started up in the last year and a half, and we're making progress getting our name out and so that people know that if they're seeking solutions, they know who to turn to. So being here helps with that, but also, there's, I think, an opportunity to connect with young people looking to make a career change and maybe enjoying energy transition. So that's another aspect of it, and just being part of the community, getting to know other people in the community that have a similar purpose and mission.
And shooting some hoops, right?
Yeah, hopefully these guys are doing well and we don't get hit by that was almost 3 points. That's pretty good.
Hoping so. Listen, I have two questions for you. One is about why we actually need conferences like this and what's special about Energy Disruptors Conference.
What's special about it for me is that this is in Calgary, and Calgary is the center for Canadian energy, and we're talking about changes to the energy system right here in Calgary. And so I think it's great that we're allowing time and space to have these types of conversations in Calgary. So again, it's just a confluence of all these different ideas, thoughts, technologies, solutions. Some great thought leaders are getting on stage and inspiring people. And so I think it's a big part of it.
Talking about inspiring, I have an inspiring question from a 7-year-old. Her name is Freya, and she has a question for you. Are you ready for that?
Ready.
Okay, let's check it out.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
I think the generation that is coming, Freya's generation, the opportunity set is to help, is to think about the externalities of what we do. We drive, we consume, we do all these things. We've done it for a long period of time. It's been led to the societies that we have and enjoy the comforts that we have. But we're starting to recognize that there's externalities with those, with our patterns of living. And so is there a better way to do that? Is there a better way to address the impacts that we have? And I think there is. And I think it's that generation is the one that's going to be carrying on the challenge to change and improve the way that we live, work, and play.
So, in your answer to Freya's 7-year-old, remember, what would you say?
Make sure you have fun.
Make sure you have fun, Freya. And so are we, right?
We are.
Yeah.
Great conference.
Yeah, great conference. Thank you very much, Patrick, for joining us at the Switch, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, you too.
Don't forget to subscribe, share, and make sure to listen to the latest podcasts of The Switch, Not Another Podcast, where we really challenge status quo.